I've heard a lot, we're speaking about this for a while, about making real meaningful partnerships at that local and community level. And we're fortunate today, and I'll bring them up shortly, to have 4 exceptional people who have become what I consider experts at this work. It is not easy work. We talk about this all the time. Let's work with other people. It sounds nice, does it not? Is it easy to do? Just think about going to your school or the hospital where you work in, just organizing the people who are in your same union and trying to say, how do I reach out to someone else, to a completely different organization? I know in New York City, we have been so fortunate to be able to really do exceptional work, but it also had a lot to do with the fact that we had people who were trying to destroy public education in New York City. We go out and say, we're very simple. We're here to help you. What do you need? We are the teachers of the community. We work with your children every day. We live in the communities with you. And we want a better life for everyone, and especially the children that are in our care. And what can we do to help?
Let's surround ourselves with the community. And when I say community, it's not just about the children and the parents. We should be engaging the broader community. They have a place in that school. And that's what we engaged in. How do you leverage neighborhood resources? How do you operate so that you're not just working off of grant funding? Grant funding dries up. How do you make sure you have partnerships that are sustainable for the long haul? And we knew that there were so many teachers who were frustrated that they were being the doctor and the social worker and the guidance counselor and all of these other titles that they didn't have, that we found that they've been very receptive. And partners are out there. There are so many organizations and institutions that feel like they have a social responsibility to the people in their city, that partners are coming through our doors, and it's amazing trying to manage all the partnerships. So groups are there to help support the work. But the key for us, like I said, was to find sustainability so that if an administrator changes, if a partner leaves, all of your hard work doesn't fall apart.
The reality is the fight that we're in right now is bigger than any one of our organizations, right? This is a corporate reform agenda. It is meant to dismantle public education. And so we have no choice but to come together and fight it in a united front. So that took a lot of negotiating, right? So, you know, what young people see in schools and want in schools might not be necessarily all the time what adults want. Adults often talk about safety in schools. Young people talk about engaging curriculum, you know. But we were able to put all that together into this package, which includes community schools as an alternative to school closings. Young people went out in 4 days and they knocked on over 1,400 doors. They collected almost 400 surveys and had 500 conversations. And I was thinking about 2 young women in particular who are in placement. Well, one's in placement, one's home, but they've both been in and out of homeless shelters. They've both been in and out of placement for their whole lives. And why they come every day to knock on doors. And it's because schools are the one thing that's been constant in their life. Teachers are the one thing that have been constant in their life, and they're fighting like heck to protect that. Yeah.
You know, people look at unions, they're always wanting just more pay, right?
That's right.
They want this. Whenever unions are in a particular area, in a remote area like McDowell County, and can make McDowell County what it once was, everyone prospers. Education prospers. Healthcare came into McDowell County because of the union movement. Retirements came into McDowell County because of the union movement. Everybody was better off for it. So what do we need? We need more partnerships, don't we? Where can we start at? We can start out by people on the left and the right of you who are in your union. You can count on them. Who else can you count on? I have always believed that you can count on the civil rights movement to stand beside you and fight beside you and be for you. And you can count on them not to walk away when a little bit of trouble comes your way, right?
And so we began working together with the 100 branches of the NAACP, Labor, Faith, and other organizations. We said, look, we know who the enemies are. The same people against public education are the same people against labor. Amen. The same people against progressive taxes are the same people against environmentalists. So if we know who the enemies are, why don't we build an anti-racist, anti-poverty coalition, not based on personality, but based on agenda? Why don't we come together and fight together, not build another organization or another bureaucracy, but a coalition? Why don't we have a strong moral center and refuse to allow the Christian right to keep claiming the moral high ground? Why don't we tell the truth?
The Moral Mondays program that you have going on now that is clearly starting to grow.
In April, 17 of us went to jail, went to the legislature, Moral Monday, and we said we were going to call them what they are, extremists and immoral. That based on our deepest moral principles, doing justice, loving your neighbor, and our deepest constitutional principles, providing for the general welfare and the common good, it's immoral and extreme to cut 500,000 people out of Medicaid. It's immoral and extreme to ruin public education. It's immoral and extreme to hurt labor rights and to fight against living wages. 17 went. They said it wasn't going to be anything. As of last night, 925 people of all different races, colors, creeds, and backgrounds have engaged in civil disobedience. We have driven their numbers down to less than 1 out of 5 North Carolinians agree with them. All the newspapers have endorsed our effort. The governor has dropped to one of the 18 worst governors in the state. They may have the votes, but we are killing them in public opinion.
You know what? You can't wait for the right time. Right. The right time is now. We have a Department of Ed that hates us. You know, there are folks out there, the DFERS and all these other folks, that want to see our demise. But it hasn't stopped us in the work. And so we had a school that was devastated by the hurricane, PS 188. And so this concept of a community hub, that's what they needed at that moment. So the work is not easy. I don't want you to think it's easy. But they said, we have nothing. We have lost everything in this community, down to the hospital. And so for the organizations that were there, guess what? They're moving into the school. We are merging the neighborhood with the school, which is what it should be.
And so oftentimes we're told, oh, we should downplay labor. We should downplay labor because for some reason now labor has a bad name. But we're very clear that we're very proud that we are a community labor coalition, right? And so we have to reclaim that. And we have to reclaim the importance of that. It's not about different organizations. It's not about individual personalities. It's not about any other, backroom deal making. It's the end game is that we are going to win, and we have to do that. And the only way that's going to happen is if we come together.
They're fighting AFT this hard, Randy. If they're fighting us, we who believe in public education, if they're fighting civil rights in the union, and even though they may be winning some temporary battles, it must be because they are operating out of political paranoia. They are trying to stop a future that they cannot stop. Thurgood Marshall went before the Supreme Court. There were 9 white justices, and one of them was a former Ku Klux Klan member, and he won. And if our foreparents, from Frederick Douglass to Susan B. Anthony to Elizabeth Canton, could win with less than we have, surely if we stay together and fight together and work together, we can win now. We can win.
Whatever the problems that you will face at home when you go to do this work, I want you to understand that the Lord is with you, and you definitely have the Spirit now. And let's hear it for our panelists, and thank you all for everything that you do.